So hello everybody, my name is Nouraldeen Ibrahim and today I'll be talking about my work on school hallway overcrowding. So I'll start this presentation by introducing myself. I live in New York and I'm a rising junior at Staten Island Technical High School. I love playing soccer and I play for my school's soccer team. I'm also interested in the medical field and I'm the vice president of my local volunteer ambulance and a member of my school's medical club. I also enjoy performing research and I currently perform research on chemistry with a professor from a local college. I plan to do something in the medical field and major in biology or chemistry. And today I'll be talking about the research of myself and two classmates over the past year regarding school hallway overcrowding. So summary of the issue, hallway traffic is a prevalent issue in schools across the United States. This issue is especially prevalent in schools with high student populations. Overcrowding is a major factor in the transmission of airborne diseases as people are in very close proximity with one another. As you see in these pictures, the students are put into very tight spaces that are much less than the recommended 6 feet of distance. And since schools across the globe are shutting down during COVID-19's outbreak because of the dangerous hallway environment, this issue is clearly a global health problem that is rarely addressed. According to the World Health Organization, outbreaks of disease are more frequent and more severe when the population density is high. This explains why it's very difficult to reopen schools under the current conditions because school hallways would be a place where COVID-19 could spread very easily. So with this in mind, we did some background research to help find some changes. And the first two changes are based on some lane formation factors, which mean that humans naturally form lanes, but in hallways, these lanes tend to break down. So the first two changes help reinforce the creation of lanes. For example, adding directional lanes in hallways using tape will create more organized lanes, and adding columns to intersections physically separates opposing crowds at corners, so it's more organized. And the final change is more specific to our school, because we have an early bell, which signals when a class is over, and a late bell, which signals when the next class starts. So people often wait for the late bell to ring before they stop loitering in the hallways and blocking other students from passing. So we felt that removing the late bells will create a sense of urgency in the students to get to the classes faster. So after that, we created a research question and hypothesis. So we asked, to what extent can changes in school hallways alleviate overcrowding? And we hypothesized that if the changes were implemented, the hallway overcrowding would be alleviated. So after this, we had a survey to receive data about how the student body feels about the hallway overcrowding, and we handed it out to 4 classes of each grade. And in total, we had 60 participants. We asked, how do you feel moving through the school hallways with the amount of space available? And we found that 59 out of 60 students, which is the vast majority of them, felt that it was sometimes or mostly difficult to move through the school hallways. And this shows that this is a major problem that impacts almost every student in our school on a daily basis. So with this survey data in mind, we physically removed the labels in our school for a week with the help of our school administrators. So to determine the effectiveness of removing the late bells, we handed out the following logs to 5 students and asked them to fill it out during the control week and a testing week. So the control week was a week where we had no changes in the hallways, and the testing week was when we removed the late bells for a week. And these logs would help us get the speeds of the students during both weeks, so we could analyze if the speeds increased or decreased. So we then found all the speeds, and we've actually found that 4 of the 5 participants had higher speeds during the test week. And in total, when comparing the control and test speeds, the test week had higher speeds 62% of the time. This shows that this change was effective in increasing students' speeds. So for the next part of the research, we used a simulation to try the addition of directional lanes and columns and intersections, and we saw how the changes would look like. So to receive the computer simulation, we created an email and sent it to companies to try and get their simulation software. And one company named InControl was generous enough and provided us 3 free user licenses to their software, and we were able to actually test our changes on it. So with the software, we were able to simulate our school environment by inserting our school's floor plans into the program, and we created the total of the 4 floors into the school program, and we inputted the size and speeds of the students into this program and inserted the paths of the students using their school schedules. And in total, we had 3 models at the end. We had the control model, which was the regular model of our school. We had a model with columns in it, which had columns in every intersection with a radius of 1.5 feet, as you can see on the left side. And we had lanes, a model with lanes which were placed in the middle of the hallway, and they're shown on the right. And these lanes resembled walls, and the only openings were areas with stairs. So we then received some data and compared the different densities. And we found that 67% of zones had a decreased number of agents with lanes, and 50% of zones had a decreased number of agents with columns. And this overall just shows a decrease in density, which is a decrease in congestion. So we also have a video that provides a visual on how our program looked like and how we simulated students in our school. So we could see students entering the simulation, and the dots represent each student. And they're going up the next floors and going up to the stairs. And here we have the 3D version of the same model, where we can actually see the students leaving the classrooms and going to the next class, and we can actually see where some congestion is building up. And finally, at the end of the school day, the students exit the school and the simulation ends. And in order for us to get data from this simulation, we created density maps. This shows the process of creating them. So here we could actually see where the traffic prevalent in our school is by looking at the orange and red zones, which dictate where the highest density is. And then using that, we could create maps and then compare the data. Okay, so with this research in mind, we began looking for implementations to physically try this in our school and help reduce overcrowding. So first of all, we collaborated with our principal and staff members to permanently remove the labels in our school. And this will be kept for future years since it decreased the hallway traffic. And this could even have unexpected benefits, as a school in California noticed that tardiness has dropped 30% since they stopped having a bell. So this shows that removal of labels could have more than one benefit. And the next change was columns, which could be implemented in schools using these posts on the left. So we placed them in the center of the corners as presented by the image on the right. They would be forming a path that would separate the intersecting crowds at the corners of the school and prevent people from running into each other and increase the organization. And the directional lanes could be created by placing the purple tape across the floor of the hallways. And the stickers with arrows would be placed on both sides of the wall to dictate which direction crowds should move in. The tape is also residue-free and approved, which means it won't damage the school floors or walls. And we also created a website, which is a good way for other schools to be able to implement our changes into their own school. So we can look into the website, and it has different tabs where schools could look into, for example, like each of our different changes. And for example, if we go to adding columns, we could see a why do it section, how it works, and also resources. So schools could use anything they need to help put this change into their own hallway. So in conclusion, our changes increase the speeds and decrease densities in our school's hallways, which improve the quality of life of students in our school. In our current time, students are not able to return to schools due to the unhealthy environment. So we hope that our changes could be considered to make schools reopen safely. Also, our changes are feasible, which means they can be reproduced in any environment and are relatively inexpensive. And if you have any more questions about this presentation, you could contact us on this, either our group email or my personal email. And if you want to learn more about the project, you can check out the website. It's also linked over here. And these are references I used for my presentation. And finally, I would like to thank Jake Lee and Jeffrey Lin for helping me with this project. I would also like to thank the Global Health Leaders Conference for allowing me to present my work today. And finally, I would like to thank all the administrators and teachers who helped make our project successful. And thank you all for listening.